Shawn Lynch. I'm joined by Jansen. This is Shawn and Shawn Show. Our first episode for the basketball season underway. Conference play really got going last week for everybody. Exciting season we can expect ahead, at least competitively.
Yeah, I think what you're looking at is some parity in both, at least when we're talking about the CCC, boys and girls. You got 4 teams on the girls' side. All local teams, Merced, BUHAC, Golden Valley, and Atwater, all have a shot at the title. They're all playing well right now, and I think that's going to come down to the end. The boys' side, I think you got 5 teams that could beat anybody on any given night. Even BUHAC on Friday night had a shot to beat Merced. I think Merced and Turlock are probably, a little bit above the other teams, and will probably rise to the top at the end. But on any night, those other teams got shots to beat each other and should contend for the 3 playoff spots.
We got a few smaller schools that are doing well for themselves also. Boys' side, nice representation from LCAP so far.
Yeah, they got off to a 7-2 start, and then they kind of struggled there in the middle of the season. They went up to Sonora and lost all 3 games there, playing bigger schools in the Sonora tournament, the Columbia tournament, and then they started out league 0-2. They got manhandled against Central Valley, who's probably the class of the WAC there, and then a tough loss against Ceres at the buzzer beater. We were both at that game, saw it. A tough loss for them to lose at the last second, but they rebounded, beat Livingston on Friday night. Big win for them. And then you also got Mariposa in the Southern Leagues off to a good start. We saw them playing the Save Mart Classic or the ABC tournament, which is called now, and they really represented themselves well in that tournament, playing a tough Roosevelt team down to the wire, and then losing to Atwater in a close game on Saturday. But I think if Mariposa was in the CCC, they would finish in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. Livingston girls also worthy of a shout out, off to a 3-0 start in WAC, and playing some pretty good ball, beating a lot of the local teams.
Yeah, they're off to a good start. Shawn Sahota scores 26 points against El Cap last Thursday to get them a win. The Wolves are off and running.
All right, we're going to delve a little deeper into all the conference stuff, particularly the CCC. But before we get to all that, here's the sights and sounds for last week. All right, let's take a little closer look at what we can expect in the CCC. Let's start with the boys. Interesting opening Friday night. Some games were closer than we thought they maybe were going to be. Doesn't seem like points are going to be at a premium for the league this year. It's going to be some low-scoring defensive battles.
Yeah, I think when you look at one of the teams, look at all the teams, one of the similarities is you don't see a lot of height in this league. So I don't think these teams have those low post scores that are going to get those easy points in the paint. A lot of these teams are guard oriented, outside shooting, and they're just not consistently putting up the big points.
Yeah.
You look at like a team at Merced, they've lost some of their big men during the season, so they're kind of relegated to playing 4 guards at one time, and so they're going to kind of live and die from outside and have to score in transition off their defense.
Yeah, guard play, let's talk about that. That kind of is what we see separating Merced and Turlock kind of from the rest of the pack. Talk about Turlock, you saw them play Atwater on Friday night. They have 2 guards in Baines and McFadden that have been around the league for, I want to say, 3 years now. When you pick your NCAA brackets, you're always supposed to go with the senior guard play, and they obviously have that, two guys that know each other well.
Yeah, and two guards that play well on both sides of the field. They can each score, and they're pretty good on defense, very physical in their backcourt. And then what Turlock has is they're a little bit taller than the other teams. They got Ryan Cook in the middle, who had 14 rebounds against Atwater. I thought that was going to be the best game of the night. Turlock going into Atwater, it's tough to beat them at their place, but Turlock just dominated them in the first half, closed the half on a 25-2 run to lead 30 at 9. At halftime, Atwater got back into it for a little bit in the second half, but Turlock just pulled away. And then you look at Merced, was kind of surprised that, they're only leading Butte Colony by 1 point after the third quarter on Friday. You look at their two guards, Alonzo Gilliam and AJ Stewart. Probably, you look at them and Turlock as the best backcourts in the league, and those two guys helped Merced get to Sleep Train Arena last year in the semis. Merced's got to find different ways to score because they don't have Trevante Richard back, who was kind of their do-everything last year, really stepped up into a leadership role, kind of sacrificed scoring some points to help rebound and play down low when they needed to or play up high on their press. What they're going to need is other guys like Deshaun Peterson and Mason to hit some shots and to help AJ and Alonzo do some of the scoring.
Yeah, I think any given night in the CCC is really going to come down to those shooters, and whichever team gets the hot hand is probably going to be the one coming out on top. Let's talk about some of the mid-level teams, I guess, at this point in time. You got Golden Valley, you got Atwater. Golden Valley obviously lost one of its most successful senior classes ever. What can we expect from them this year?
Golden Valley is an interesting team because I think you lose to Josh Sykes, Christian Carroll, Evan Stallone, all those guys that won 2 or 3 straight titles. You got guys that haven't played big minutes stepping up like Lee McDaniels and Isaac Daniel.
Lee McNeil. You combine the two.
Yeah. Lee McNeil's doing a little bit of everything for him. He's got them pushing the ball up the court. He's got to play down low. He's kind of their jack of all trades. He can score from outside and slash to the basket. Isaac Daniel really stepped up in the leadership role. He's playing kind of the point guard. He can score when needed. And then they're kind of their third guy is Colin Hayes, who's kind of a low post scorer that, when he can score 10 to 15 points, he really makes Golden Valley formidable. But like other teams, Golden Valley's going to struggle to score. When they're struggling to knock down shots, that's what they struggle, and they got to hold on to the ball against some of these teams that presses. Atwater, probably one of their worst games against Turlock. They just did not want to bring the ball inside, didn't go inside till the third quarter. They kind of just jacked up three-pointers, only hit 1 of 13 shots in the first half and 1 of 19 from the game. And it just led to fast break points for Turlock on long rebounds.
That ability to adjust probably going to be a big deal for coaches over the course of the year too. All right, you've heard our take on the CCC. Let's go ahead and hear it from one of the coaches. Hector Nava was kind enough to stop by. Shawn Jansen sat down with him, asked him about tomorrow's big game against Turlock and a few other things.
All right, we're here with Merced coach Hector Nava. You guys got a big week this week. Talk about the matchup Wednesday with Turlock.
It's going to be a great matchup. Turlock's very physical. We're hoping we become very physical that night. We're getting there, but it should be a nice, fast-paced style of basketball. Hopefully the officials go hold on to that whistle for a while. The last couple of games, those whistles been blowing for us.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's hope going into Turlock. What kind of officiating? Talk about how that changes the game when you get, especially, I've had referees tell me that they've been asked to call games more closely. You can't put 2 hands on a guy. It's an automatic foul. And they're asked to call fouls like 80 feet away from the basket this year.
It just slows things down. We want to push the ball up, and sometimes it's just by them blowing the whistle every time, it slows everything down for us and our transition. Even defensively, some of the stuff we want to get into, they're slowing it down because now my guys start thinking too much. Oh, is he going to call a foul or not? And that kind of hurts you sometimes because, your players are thinking instead of just reacting and playing.
The matchup with Turlock, you feature 2 dynamic backcourts. You got your guys, AJ Stewart and Alonzo Gilliam, going up against Dimson McFadden and Devin Baines of Turlock. 2 guys that two sets of guards that have kind of been in this league, been through battles. Talk about that matchup.
Well, it's going to be great. It's just, I mean, they've both been through some grind games. I'm sure both sides, they're excited. They're going to see each other again. I'm sure Turlock is excited from last year, what happened, when they came out to Merced. So I'm sure they remember that. And it's just going to be exciting. It's going to be, I know AJ, Longzy, they're up to the task. I got Travis, who's been doing an excellent job, the Payson, so he's been doing excellent. So these guys are excited. They're eager to see where their development is at this moment. Who developed the best during this time right now.
Yeah. Talk about how tough it is to play in their kind of barn-like gym. You look at last year, you guys got blown out at their place, but then you blow out Turlock at your place. How tough is it playing in that gym?
I don't know what it is. Last year we just struggled. We went in there. It was just Cornfield did an excellent job switching the defenses, slowed the game down a little bit, and then switched every time he had a chance. The fans do an excellent job. They're right there on the sideline. They seem to rush our guys. It just as a coach and as a player, I think it's a great environment to go into. You just have to come ready to play. No excuses. You got to adjust.
You look at your scores. You guys have played some great defensive games, holding teams to about 40, just over 40 points a game, but struggling to score at times. What's been the struggle getting the ball in the basket for you guys?
I think repetition. I think then just feeling comfortable, repping enough in practice. We've been doing that. It's just them just fine-tuning themselves and just concentrating. I catch myself saying that a lot in the game. Concentrate, because I feel like they're right there. They just got to concentrate and put the ball in the hole. And I think that's going to come. I think we're gradually making those improvements.
How have you guys had to change this year without Trevante? He was the MVP last year. You guys returned some guys, but you've had some guys leave the team for different reasons, and it's left you guys where you guys are playing almost 4 guards at one time, and then Tyrone Davis. How does that change offensively for you guys? Well,
offensive changes in a big way, because as a coach, you had to prepare yourself to have certain guys on the team. And we worked during that in the summer and the fall, to get certain offensive situations going for those big guys, and now they're not there. You had to make some adjustments. And I think Tyler and Mitchell, they're doing an excellent job with those adjustments. But it changes the game a little bit. But, this is high school basketball. The boys have to learn how to adjust to certain situations. For us as a coach and as a team, they got to adjust.
Talk about the approach to rebounding with a small team. It's kind of all hands on board, attack the boards. And talk about the approach you guys have to take to hoping to kind of even out the rebounding against teams.
The key is all 5 guys got to want to rebound. There's no, I'm going to take a playoff. You just can't do that, especially when we're such a small team. You just got to you got to be hungry. You got to learn how to box out. It's not just go get it. We don't have those type of guys that you can say, just go get the rebound for us. You got to literally go box out, go hit somebody, and then go get the ball. You can't get those guys get into the paint, because they're just going to out-jump us. Try to keep them out of the paint.
You look at the league, do you expect it to be a grind? Because it doesn't look like there's one dominant team that's just going to run away with this league. It looks like it's going to be a battle, and there could be 3-4 teams in the mix.
Right. I think offensively, as you look at all the CCC teams, I personally thought, Pittman and Turlock were going to have some firepower offensively, but then again, you got Coach Hunter on the other side. He does an excellent job. But I thought it was going to be a little lower scoring offensive year for the CCC, and anytime there's low scoring, the defense is going to be there for all the teams if you're going to want to succeed this year.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Good luck on Wednesday night, Turlock, and then you guys got Pittman at home on Friday?
We got Pittman at home. We got Pittman, and then we'll have Atwater. But we got this big one right here against Turlock. I'm excited for it.
All right. Thanks, Hector.
Yep.
All right, thanks to Coach Nava again for stopping by. Let's go ahead and take a look at the CCC girls. Last year was one of the best finishes I can remember in my 8 years here, coming down to the last week of the season with Merced emerging over Buhek in a classic game. This year it could be even better. We got 4 teams, all local, we think, vying for the crown and for those 3 playoff spots.
Yeah, started off with a bang on Thursday night. Again, Merced and BUAC going to overtime. It's always fun watching some of the matchups when those 2 teams get together, because they played earlier this year in the Golden Valley tournament in a game that BUAC Colony won. This time it kind of went back and forth. No team seemed to take control of this game for more than 2 minutes at a time, and it goes to the end. It's fun watching a matchup like Brandy Coward guarding Lexi Thompson. I mean, we saw that in the first game where Brandy had shut her down for most of the game, and then Lexi rolls off 17 straight points. Well, she did it again. She held Lexi Thompson to 4 points through the first 3 quarters, and then Lexi Thompson gets going and scores 14 points in fourth quarter and overtime, including the game winner to get Merced the win.
Yeah, it was funny that you mentioned the lack of being able to hold on to momentum. There was both times for both teams where I thought the game was over. Like one of them made a big run late, and the fact that the cool and calmness where the other team just came back and answered right away was pretty impressive. But I guess it goes to show you got 2 veteran clubs that have been a part of the CCC crown in some way, shape, or form the last 3 years, and no signs point to them going anywhere else.
No, I think the girls' race is going to come down to the end until you get to those rivalry games on the last game of the season when Merced's playing Golden Valley and Atwater's playing Buhack. I think there's going to be titles on the line that night. You look at Buhack Colony, yeah, they lost to Merced, but they're capable of going on a run, winning 5 or 6 games in a row and getting back into this race. Especially they got Barbara Coward back against Merced. She had missed most of the non-conference schedule with the bad ankle. She entered it early on in the Golden Valley tournament. She comes back against Merced and has, I think, 10 points and 14 rebounds. And the Coward sisters, Brandy and Barbara, had 27 rebounds between them. I think when you look at the race, I think Golden Valley is going to play a part in here. They've got, you get a transfer like Stephanie Moore from a team that wins a state championship like Modesto Christian. That's going to bring in a lot of experience. She had to sit out 30 days. She makes her debut against Pittman and scores 20 points. She's got a freshman sister who's also on the team, Delia Moore, who's been really impressive. She's able to hit threes, make some nice passes, kind of playing the point guard for them, and she's done well early. You had Camille Flores, another outside shooter, a player that can score 15, 25 points in a game, and Golden Valley's going to be very formidable in this race.
And then you got Atwater kind of under the radar, who's got the best record of everybody at this point in time.
Yeah, they started out the season losing their first 3 games. Lo and behold, here they are. They've won 10 straight, and they're 1-0 in league. They won their game against Turlock. Kind of a tight contest, probably closer than we thought it would be.
Closer than J.R. Davis thought it was.
Yeah, they pulled it out. So it's going to be interesting this week. We're about an hour and a half before the girls' games here on Tuesday. I'm going to go check out Golden Valley and Buhack. You're going to check out Merced and Turlock. It's going to be an interesting week because Golden Valley's got Buhack Colony and Atwater on Thursday, so it's a big week for the Cougars.
Yeah, we'll find out real quick where Golden Valley is going to sit in this pecking order in the essentially the opening week for conference play.
Yeah.
First full week, we'll go with that. Okay, any of the smaller girls teams that have caught your eye out of the gate?
I think Los Banos has played well at times. They had some nice wins early on in the season. I think they've struggled once they've gotten to WAC play. The LCAP girls are kind of struggling. It's tough when you look at LCAP boys and girls. We saw this during the fall. Some of these sports, when it hurts not having seniors in those leadership, going through a varsity season. But, LCAP started strong. They're struggling right now. But that big win against Livingston, they got some nice pieces. Isaiah Knott and James Sellers. I think Sellers hit 4 threes that game. I think they got a chance to contend. It may be a little bit tougher for the LCAP girls, but they're coming along.
Yeah. Livingston girls being coached by Nina Garcia, former player, part of their Big Five that Luciana Naldi had a couple years ago. They're a good story. They've beaten a lot of the local teams, at least the smaller local teams. I don't think they've taken on too many CCC teams, but 3-0 to start leagues, nothing to shake your head at, and they're playing well. LeGrand almost went 3-0 last night. Nice to see them on an uptick a little bit. It's been a while for the LeGrand girls, basically since Danny Crosby made the switch over to Los Banos. So tough loss on the road to Mariposa last night, but they're doing well. And
we'll get to see more of LeGrand once they get into the teeth of their Southern League schedule. They didn't open up against some of the tougher teams in the league.
All right, that's going to do it for the show. Sorry for the abridged version. We basically lost the first one, but we'll get it up as fast as possible, and we'll see you out there at the games.